Welcome to Fruit Up with Bobby Smith. We back with another one. Today, I have someone that is a very dear friend of mine, someone that I actually met online. And, it's very high level individuals in the world. And you don't really know them until you run across them. So this is one of those relationships. This is a friend. That's it. And I want y'all to meet her. I want y'all to, get a insight on her introspectives. And this is what it's about. So Sherry Oehler is joining us today. How you doing,
Hello.
Sherry? What's going on?
I'm doing fantastic. Oh my gosh. I'm enjoying late November in Central Florida where I'm in my bedroom. My window's open back there. It was 80 degrees yesterday. I was in the springs that are 5 minutes up the street from me. So check it out. I just get in my car and drive. And in 5 minutes, I'm in this 72-degree water, which some people think is cold, but it's just perfect.
That's
Just hang out there. It's not crowded. And then I come back home. So that's just part of the day on nice days. Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful. Central
hmm
Florida, you said Central Florida, did you?
Central Florida. Yeah. So basically, I'm about an hour and a half north of Orlando. So if I go straight east, I hit, there's a couple beaches that are familiar to people, like Daytona Beach or St. Augustine is also about an hour drive. So I'm kind of in that location of Florida. And also, just being here by the springs, it's just like you have the ocean or you can have this. So you
Mm,
get your pick.
that's
We just
dope.
don't have mountains.
I take warm weather right now over anything. You know what I'm saying? Like that's dope to be going swimming and stuff in the month of November. But anyway, so can you please tell the people a little bit about yourself, a little bit of background, where you come from, what you about, talk about whatever you want to talk about yourself, because I think you're interested. So I want them to
Thank
hear
you.
that.
Yeah, so I'm Sherry. I'm originally from the Baltimore area, Charm City. I didn't like live in the city a whole lot, but that's where I'm from. I'm from the Northeast. And I went to high school there, went to college there, and then I joined the military. So I graduated from Towson University. I had an undergrad in sociology and anthropology. So I was all about learning about people and loving people in my own special way. And then the military wasn't really part of my dream in life, but it just happened. So yeah, and then I stayed in for 20 years. Like I literally retired in 2021. My career was 9/11 to COVID, I like to say, kind of cutely. So it kind of gives you the time span of the service for me. Yes, I deployed and went to see the Middle East and did all kinds of stuff. I've been everywhere, have so much experience with like leadership and sitting in front of people and being really confident and having my to-do list in front of me and being able to like execute everything and make it all look real good. So I did in the army. And, my heart was in it for like most of the time. And sometimes it was just kind of like another day at work, kind of a performance, but that's probably normal for a lot of people. So, yeah, what else can I say? I don't know. I just like, I'm so, I came across you because I was really into fruitarianism and I just saw this role model that you were being on Facebook. And I was like, I want part of that energy and I want to be coached by this guy because I just wanted to like, I loved what I saw. And I was like, oh man, I want to launch myself out in the world like he's doing. Um, and so, yeah, I'm like on this big health journey, I guess. Like we can talk about military stuff another time because I feel like it literally is another lifetime. Where I'm at right now is more about like peace and unconditional love and healing and you know, so that other part of my life was just different, different pursuits, different
You know
focuses.
what though? I was gonna say, I was gonna say that you can tell, cause like you don't got the energy of a person who was in the military. Like, dude, like just
hmm
to piggyback off that a little bit, do you
Yeah.
have to be different in the military than you are right now?
Well, I'm steadily like becoming who I am right now, but the whole time I was in, I will tell you, I felt a little bit different because I am this like exuberant, generally happy person all the time. And most people in the military, if anybody's familiar with the Myers-Briggs personality test, um, they're all like introverted. And it's like a 4-letter classification, basically. So everybody's INTJ in the military, and I was ENFP, which basically means like I'm extroverted, I'm out here feeling my feelings and just more of a spirited individual where a
Mm.
lot of people try to hide. So yeah, I did feel different. And there was another test that we took that it said that I was like a divergent thinker. So there's like the narrative that everybody's supposed to be thinking and kind of like that's their starting point. And for me, I'm like, let me go across the street because I think I see something better over there. And I think it would be better to do it that way. So it
Mm.
was hard for me, even though I was so successful. Like I freaking climbed the ranks faster than anybody that I know. And I was like, I felt like I was bucking the system a lot of the time because I was just doing things my way. So
Mm.
I don't know, it worked out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad you're here now because that's why you say how you found me. That's how energy meet energy. You feel me? So,
Yes.
and it's interesting how you met me because when I met you, I was like, who is this person? You just reached out of nowhere. So that's really true how you just seen me and seen and felt my energy. So with that being said though, when I met you and we started talking and I'm realizing I'm like, this lady high level than a motherfucker. Like, what? Like, hold on, like she started coaching me. So, and that's what it's about though. So can you tell the people about like what you mean by you on this health journey? Like, what do health journey mean?
Yeah. So for me, it's all about like mind, body, spirit balancing. And that's my primary focus in my life. So I started on a journey where I was still in the army. I was about just over halfway through my career, and I bought a juicer and bought a NutriBullet and started just bringing in fresh fruits and vegetables into my diet. And alchemically, it started to change me. I
Mm-hmm.
actually ended up dropping weight when I thought I was at the perfect weight. I was like an athlete. I used to run and do all these like really challenging things, CrossFit and all that. And
Mm-hmm.
like when I started bringing in fruits and vegetables in my body, things started changing at all levels. So it started like putting me on this path of like, oh, I want to learn about essential oils instead of using pharmaceutical drugs. And that took me like 5 years to totally like redesign my medicine cabinet where there ain't nothing that you can buy at CVS
Right.
except for like band-aids and stuff anymore. And then, then I learned about um, past life regression hypnosis. So that totally took me to another level because I used to judge the shit out of hippie people that were calling themselves healers and all this. And then when I felt like, well, I got stuff going on in my head and I'm still in the army, and I felt like if I go ask for help formally, that it might take me off the promotion track or I might be judged in some way about being weak or whatever. So I had to go outside the military structure to find healing.
Mm.
So, I started learning about essential oils and hypnotherapy and stuff like that. So I actually forget what the question was, but
So what
like
started
that.
you on your health journey? You on the right direction.
Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah. And so I kept going more and more natural and more spiritual.
Mm.
And truthfully, the beginning of my real big spiritual journey, like right before A Course in Miracles came into my life, which has been like the saving grace for me, I was on this journey looking into sacred sexuality
Mm.
because I started thinking about like that energy, like the orgasm energy that our bodies are. We showed up here with that potential. And I started questioning, like, what is this really used for? It can't just be two people getting together and feeling good. Like, there has to be more. So I started going to these retreats that were teaching me that it's like very sacred, and the indigenous cultures all over the world and before, like I totally believe in like aliens and there's no such thing as time and all that stuff. So it's like sexual energy is super powerful. And there's so much out there to read about and learn about going deeper. So that was the beginning for me and into like spiritual searching. And then through that, I was on YouTube listening to different channelers like Daniel Scranton, Lee Carroll, and everybody knows Abraham Hicks, when some people do, not everybody. And so then my teacher, Tina Spalding, who channels Jesus, tells her story. She was definitely not looking forward to doing that in her life, but it just showed up. And it was through her teachings that I discovered the Course in Miracles. So
what is the
I can pause there for a moment.
Yeah, no. What is the Course in Miracles? That's the second time I heard you reference that.
So the Course in Miracles is a self-study book. It is a 3-part book that was actually channeled. This book, a lot of people don't, well, actually, if you start reading it, I think you discover that it's channeled. But in the beginning, it tells a story of this woman who is a medical psychologist working at Columbia University in the 1960s. And the department was falling apart. Her and her fellow teacher, administrator guy, they were working together, and they were like, this place is falling apart. And they didn't even like intentionally set out a prayer. But she all of a sudden started getting this voice coming to her in the night. And she got this feeling like, oh, I better get out my notebook and start writing down what this person's telling me. And it turns out that that voice was Jesus, and she was a straight atheist. So she thought she was going fucking crazy. And then this partner of hers began to help her like type up what she was writing down as it was coming in. And that became the Course in Miracles. So I don't know, like, and so I've read the biographies of both of them. Her name's Helen Schuckman, and his name is William Thetford. So they have interesting stories. The Course in Miracles didn't necessarily save them either. It's interesting how their lives unfolded. I think Bill was gay and kind of struggling with that, and she was just kind of like angry as shit for most of her life. But the course has had a huge like heart opening effect on me, and what I've learned the most from the Course in Miracles is about having a forgiveness practice and being honest with myself when I'm judging myself and other people, and like breaking that down a little bit, like, okay, why am I doing that? And just getting in the front of my emotions in my daily life. So now basically, and I could talk about some other experiences I've had since discovering the course, but now, like when I walk around in a regular day, my mind is quiet. I'm not constantly judging people. I'm not thinking about the past. I'm not worrying about the future. I'm right here, and I'm like, okay, what's coming? What's next?
Take it,
And I just love people. I love animals. I love nature. I'm like, just, I don't know. I feel healed on so many levels. And I attribute it to these different paths that I started walking down. And especially, like I was telling you, I made some watermelon juice yesterday. These fruits, like, it's the easy way out of anything to just start bringing in whole natural atoms into your body. It's like, here's your therapy right here. Cheers.
Thanks. And that's what people don't realize what this do for you. You know what I'm saying? So with the fruits, the way you live it, and it's inspiring. So like your journey from me, my short time knowing you since the summer has been crazy already. Like you gotta tell the people about the 10-day silent retreat that you went on.
Oh yes, yes. Well, first I'll say, I did a 40-day juice fast because I found the Facebook page Raw Vegan Heroes. Raw Vegan Heroes. People should go check it out. It's a membership you pay for, but then once you're in there, you can do a guided 40-day juice fast, and they run it on WhatsApp. So it was really convenient and it was awesome. But I thought, because Course in Miracles connects me to Jesus, when I saw 40 days, I thought, oh, 40 days and 40 nights. Let me enter myself into that kind of commitment and see what happens. So that I had the mucoid plaque release 2 weeks in, And I think that was the first time in my life that I actually truly believed in what the fruits and vegetables were doing to me, because I saw it in the toilet. Oh, I'm coming out. And my mind started clearing, my heart started opening. Like, it was just such a feeling experience of what health was. And I had never had that much profound, noticeable, obvious changes before. So
And when was
then
that? Wasn't that in like June?
I started May, and it ended in the first couple weeks of June. It was
Yeah,
like June 10th.
I
Yeah.
remember you going to visit Shane them, wasn't it like in July?
I went out to, where did I go? God, I don't
Cali,
even
you
remember.
went to California, I think you went to Cali.
Oh yeah, I went to go visit Tori and Dave, my nephew and his wife. Yeah, that must have been in July. But I finished the juice fast. It was May 1st to June 10th.
Hmm.
And then I signed up for this 10-day silent meditation. I say retreat because it kind of flows off my mouth like that, but they call it a course. And it's a 10-day silent meditation course. And I can share with you the link so if people want to look. The course is free, and they're all over the world. And so the way that you can pay is you can donate to them, or like when you're done, like I'm actually going in a week and a half to go serve as a way to give back to the program. But okay, so this experience, you show up there and the first night check in, you're just mingling and meeting people. They give you a meal, and then a bell rings, and everybody knows, okay, we go meet at the meditation hall. And at this point forward, there's no more talking. You give up your phone. You go to your room assignment, and you're not to have any reading material, any distracty kind of shit that you might want to bring with you. No, all you do there is meditate, sleep, eat, repeat. And I mean, I would say that's one of the bravest things that I've ever done, because I actually faced a lot of stuff that was still in me after doing that juice fast, which a lot of toxins came out of my mind and my body. But doing that 10 days of silence, so much was still kind of lingering around, and I faced it sober and at 4:30 in the morning too, because your schedule is kind of like, it's intense. You get up really early, and you just have these throughout, it's 1 hour increments throughout the day. You're not just sitting meditating all day long, but you are doing a good deal of meditation and being in solitude and being quiet. Because what happens is when we talk to people, we just dissipate the energy of whatever it is we might be dealing with, and then we miss the lesson, or we miss what God or the universe is trying to tell us about something, because we just like throw off the energy without actually processing it and integrating it. So man, I think I'm still experiencing the good of that even now.
That's crazy. Like, I couldn't imagine going 10 days silent. You feel
Mm-hmm.
me? Like, to do something like that though, you gotta have strength. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, let's talk about that 10 days real quick though. Was it any time in there? Talk about the 10 days of silence. Like,
Yes.
what was the experience like? What did you get out of it?
Oh, well, it showed me how much these things, these phones, they run you. Because and I do this even now still. I wake up in the morning, pick it up. It's like, shit, I don't want to do that yet. So the 10 days of silence showed me how my life is being run by these external things, or just like programs in my mind, what I'm supposed to be doing, what I could be doing. It's like, no, you can choose to wake up and immediately go within and establish your connection with the divine. You
Mm.
can do that, but we usually choose not to. So it kind of gave me that little reality check. And then, the way that I am with other people. So I'm a really friendly, outgoing person, but part of the silence thing is you don't gesture even to other people. So I felt like something was being taken from me almost, because I like to smile and have somebody smile back. But it's like, no, don't even look at people. Stay focused inward unless you need help or something. Like
What
you
was
could
that?
always go,
Walking
yeah.
around like that, head down.
basically, I mean, it was hard for me the whole time because I never put my head down because I just feel like I walk with my heart open, my shoulders broad,
Right.
but like I would look away. If I could tell somebody was really in their thing, I wouldn't try to force them to look at me. But I felt myself doing that too. Like, come on, you want to look. Oh, and let me tell you, they separate the men and the women. I think just for that reason. Because if it's like, oh, that nonverbal communication, you get a little, hit of serotonin or whatever. So they want to really deprive you and they want you to dress modestly. So it's like no shoulders showing. You had to wear pants that weren't real tight on your ass or whatever. So it was like very specific. You just focus in. Everything else is kind of like beige on the outside of what's going on in your mind, unless it's mealtime or bedtime. And I look so forward to the meal times. Let me tell you, I was like, oh, what time is this? It's about to be breakfast. So I just came off of all that, the juicing and everything, and I really wasn't eating a ton. But man, when it was breakfast time, I was hungry. I'm like, it's 6:30 in the morning. Why do I want to eat so bad? But I was like throwing fruit and prunes and sometimes they had like chai tea with like regular milk, God forbid. And I was like, I'll take it. Making toast, they had Ezekiel bread. So I was like, cool, I'm going to have toast too. But
Mm.
anyway, so yeah, like I was just so present and I was very much looking forward to the meal time.
Mm.
And oh, the people around me, that's why I got lost on that. So I developed this sense of like really a respectful honoring of what other humans are experiencing and going through. Because I think I always have this extroverted happiness and I want to smother people with it sometimes. And I'm not really honoring, hey, maybe I'm too much for some people. And maybe they're going through something that they need to actually go all the way through without me trying to come in and rescue them with my sunshine. So it was so interesting to observe myself just, bowing, like, okay, that person's doing their thing. I'm doing my thing. Yeah, so I wanted to mention that because there was a lot of people that had different experiences, but that was mine with like being quiet and not talking to people for 10 days.
Mm. That's dope. That's dope. I kind of do that at home.
Right.
You feel me? Like I don't go nowhere. I don't do nothing because I like the energy I build up. I like to save it for myself. You feel me? Like when
That's so smart.
yeah,
Yeah, I never thought about that before.
for real. Like say you want to do some studying or something, but you running around all day for everybody else. By the time you get home, you ain't ready to study. You know what
No.
I'm saying? So everything I do is for myself, and it's so hard. When you try to do that, you learn how hard it is to conserve energy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, but you a traveling woman. You like to be adventurous. You feel me? Like you
Yep.
just where did you just leave from? Japan?
I was in Japan for 2 weeks.
And can you talk about a little bit about how your experience in Japan and how that works? Because I
Oh
just like to
yeah,
hear about
yeah.
your different traveling experiences.
Yeah, so I went to Japan because my nephew and his wife, they're 26 years old and I adore them. I was the officiant for their wedding. So I feel like I have a special relationship with them as a couple, but also because he's my nephew and I love her too, you know. So anyway, they've been to Japan already twice. In fact, he proposed to her over there and they had my engagement ring for my first marriage, so I felt all this connection with their travel to Japan. And the thought came up when I was visiting them over the summer, hey, let's travel somewhere together. So we just booked it. We were like, let's do it. We're booking the whole thing. I paid for the tickets, he paid for the Airbnbs, and they knew which cities to go to and where to go because I didn't know any of that stuff. I'm like, Tokyo is where the airport is, you know? And so yeah, like being in another culture is so uh it's another way to like you can turn it into a practice where you're reflecting on yourself and you think about what are your needs and what are your normal day whatever you do, and then when you change your schedule it's like you just confront yourself, so it's cool. And then what do I say about Japan? Like I think the people are so kind and respectful. There's so much bowing. Like we
Mm.
were on the fast train. Their transportation systems are freaking amazing. And we're on the fast train going from city to city. So when the attendants walk through the car, they enter into the car, walk through, and then before they exit the car, they turn around and bow to the passengers. And it's like, even though there's only one person in the car, it's like there's just something about their culture that's like it's obvious that you revere other people and that like there's a connection with everyone. Nature too, like everything was just beautiful over
You
there.
probably can definitely tell the difference coming from over here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like people just not friendly. People don't look at you. They damn sure
Yep.
ain't bowing to you. You know what I'm saying? So that's dope. Yeah, so let's talk about like your experiences with that. Let's go back to that juice experience real quick
Mm-hmm.
because I'm doing a lot of juicing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people understand, or that maybe they do, that what the fruit do for you spiritually and what the
Okay.
juicing do for you and how it cleanses you and make you feel. Talk about how the juicing has helped you and what advice would you give someone who's going on a juicing journey?
Okay. So I think at some point, maybe even before I started the juice fast, I was at a point of like, I'm gonna surrender to nature. And I like the recipes, the amount of juice I was making every day, I was buying so much produce. I was spending like $150 a week. It was two recipes primarily, a green juice recipe, the lemon ginger blast, and then the other one was like a citrus slash pineapple combination. And I would drink 3 lemon ginger blasts and 3 citrus every day, and they were each 32 ounces. So
Mm,
so one of these big guys full.
mm.
6 of them. Some days I only drank 4 juices. I do remember days where I had leftovers in the morning. Like, thank God I don't have to make a juice. But so I feel like I surrendered to the power of these simple little fruits and vegetables. And it's like I could feel the truth coming into me. It was like the spiritual part. Obviously, it was cleansing me, and like Dr. Morse schooled me on what is actually happening inside my body when I'm bringing these things in. But like the feeling of just like I'm putting truth into my body. So all the lies that I'm telling myself start to like shit's just getting shaken up. And then all the lies I'm hearing from the outside, I start to have an ear for discernment. Where I'm like, oh, that's not true. Because I'm not bringing in any other food, which is a lot of the food I used to be eating was like full of lies anyway, because it's like processed and whatever. So I think I equate it with like truth. Like if you're ready to like find out the truth about your own shit, and then the superhero thing that comes out of it is like you get a feel for like you're now a human lie detector. Like you just kind of know through discernment, okay, I'm being equipped with something in here that's helping me shift through all the bullshit. And it
Mm-hmm.
feels powerful. I mean, like, I think I already felt powerful, but after that juice fast, I felt even more powerful. I'm like, damn, what's next? Oh, meditation for 10 days without talking.
And that's crazy because 40 days of juicing is a lot of juice. Like that's not the normal juice fast you would get. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like people go on short-term juice fasts, so you had a lot of experience out of that. I like, how do you do it? Like I know a lot of people be like, Bobby, how you juice every day? How you do it? What advice you would give somebody to, you know what I mean, that's going on the juice journey?
Preparation. And let me tell you, at that point, I was living in an RV. So I had also access to a building where it was like temperature controlled. So I was using coolers that I had to put ice in every day, and it was hot as shit in Florida.
Mm,
So like it was all preparation, and I found this like discipline and this level of like I'm gonna change my life with this 40 days. So I would just go to the grocery store, and I started figuring out like, oh, what fruit stand is the cheapest with the best quality, or like which grocery store do I like going to. So you start to navigate things, but it's all about preparation. And you just have to tell yourself, I need cutting boards, I need good ass knives and knife sharpeners, I need jars, and then like some way to keep your produce fresh for that period, whatever period of time you decide that you're going to do a juice fast.
hell yeah, definitely prep.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I do juice batch, 2 to 3 gallons of each
Yes,
kind.
I love what you're doing.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it because once you ready, you ain't gotta get ready. Like
Yeah.
I got a gallon and a half in there right now. I can anytime I get thirsty, I just sip. And then when it's ready, you ready. Like you ain't thinking about getting nothing else.
Yes.
You got that prepared. And the work that juicing put in for you, it's like therapy on its own making juice. Because
Yes.
you start a
Oh,
relationship with the fruits, you start learning different things, you start trying different combinations and shit. So it's a different experience. That's why I love juicing, even though it's not the optimal way of eating. It's still what I'm saying, very beneficial to you. So
yeah.
let's talk about like, so you do a lot of travel. You feel me?
Hmm.
Like you do a lot of searching, what we would say.
Hmm.
Like, if I had to say you doing that, you went on the meditation, you juicing, that's somebody trying to find something. What you looking for?
That's a great question. Um, I I feel like I'm coming into who I actually am. So the way I believe is like my soul basically saw the whole story of the life of Sherry Oehler before I was even born.
Mm,
And I planned this out in such a way that I was going to retire from the army at age 42 in 2021. And that for the rest of my life, I'm taken care of in a big way. Like I don't have to work. I can afford my living expenses. And it puts me in this position where sometimes I feel guilty and awkward when I tell people about my story because I know they're struggling and I know that it's like hard. But then
mm-hmm,
it's like I also feel like I've been given this mission by God to be this like angelic presence that doesn't need to be encumbered in some system because I've transcended it. And that I'm continuing to transcend into a much higher realm, and that I'm like, my new job, if you think, is just like to guide people through my energy and
mm,
like hope for the best.
mm,
So I think that's what I'm searching for, is just actually accepting what my mission really is, which is I don't need to be like anybody else. I can trailblaze on this path that I'm going. And I'm starting to let go of this feeling. I'm so glad you asked me that. I don't feel like I'm looking for something anymore,
mm,
because after that meditation experience, there was a whole bunch of themes that I left there with about life. And it's like being present without attachment, and having very good awareness about what am I craving and what am I avoiding. And
mm.
so I can sit and just be in a way that I never have before. And I don't feel like I have to do anything. Like before you and I got on the call today, I took a walk in the woods and I just sat. And I'm like, I could sit here all day, but I got this call with Bobby, so I better go back soon. But it's like, I don't know. I can get lost in this flow because I really believe that I'm literally creating everything about my life every minute. And there's a little mystery there. So there's something for me to learn as the events unfold. But yeah, I'm just getting comfortable with being who I am and doing what I do, and hopefully helping people along the way. Because I think that's my role. I think I'm a guide, like a life guide,
And you know
basically.
what though? You know what though? Being like you said, you can do whatever you want. You fortunate. You feel like you blessed, sort of say. And you
Hmm.
when you talk to people and stuff, you think they feel bad and stuff. That's that's something you had to get over. And once you did, you really are that though, because you living off your experience. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's why I vibe with you so much, because I vibe with people who live in the life and want to find out why they're living it. You feel
Yeah.
me? Like who have a
Yes.
that's what the purpose of it is. Like I want to know why I'm here, what my
Mhm.
energy is used for. So finding out those things, that's the type of people I'm attracted to. So
Yeah.
like, can you talk about when you talk about like finding yourself and going on this journey and all of that stuff? How do you help somebody who cannot just get it? You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you got people in your life who not on the same path as you, or
Hmm.
people who come to you who trying to find their way. How do you help somebody start getting that energy that you got, who want to find themselves, who gonna take the initiative to go out there and do things? to put that work in like you and I are doing?
You know, I feel like I'm coming away from this tendency that I have towards being a rescuer and like a people pleaser and stuff. So I feel like people will come to you and take what they can and then keep moving.
Mm.
So I it's no longer an intention to like when I do meet with someone, I'm kind of open, like, oh, I wonder what we're going to talk about, or wonder what the purpose of this meeting is. But I never try to come from I'm automatically a teacher or I'm automatically at this level, I'm gonna help this person, because 9 times out of 10 I'm always learning something, or I'm having an opportunity to see this like lens of myself through that experience with them. So I think if I just keep it all open and not even have this feeling of like I got to help somebody, because I already know what my energy is, and just being in my energy is I'm transmitting on the daily 24/7 unconditional love, and like there's just a frequency to my being. So I feel like just hanging out with someone, and I don't have to give advice or say anything, and there's some transfer that's happening. But yeah, I think people will they see what you're doing, they know what you're doing. And I mentioned, I do make an effort to mention Course in Miracles and eating fresh fruits and vegetables. I don't even get on people about like cooked food and meat and all that other stuff. It's like, do whatever you want, but just add in the good stuff. And then if you're looking for something to do with your mind, Course in Miracles is my number one recommendation.
So you just mentioned you don't get on people about cooked food and stuff. What do you eat? What do you eat in a normal day? Like, do you
Well,
eat cooked food, or what would you do? Let me hold that. What would you classify yourself or label yourself as when it comes to eating?
for right now today, I would say vegetarian, because this morning I was drinking some tea that has milk powder in it that I bought in Japan. It's called hojicha. It's roasted green tea. It's delicious.
Okay.
Um, but I was really attached to labeling myself as a raw vegan when I first hit that group on Facebook, and then I did the juice fast, and I was like, I'm only going to eat raw for the rest of my life and all this.
Yeah.
And then I went to that meditation retreat and there was cooked food there. So now I feel like I don't know what I would call myself. Maybe vegetarian is the easiest way that kind of encapsulates everything. I
Yeah.
eat mostly fruit in the morning, and I'll grab fruit throughout the day too. And I try to have a really good balance if I am going to eat cooked food, because I don't believe that like everything is bad that's cooked. I think everything is energy. And also the mind is really what's in charge of my whether I'm healthy or whether I'm sick. So what I can always say if I'm about to eat something cooked is like, you know, I I I draw all of the life force energy out of this, that it's going to fuel me in the exact way that I need to, and it doesn't matter what it is because I command that it's going to bring me perfect health or something like that, just come off the cuff with something. So yeah, I have been wanting to eat bread. When I was over in Japan, I was just eating all this just bread, and I'm like, I guess I want to eat some bread lately,
Is
so it's like,
bread big over there?
well, and okay, so like the 7-Elevens, this is crazy compared to 7-Elevens here. They just have little packages of some prepared things, but it was like fresh, like that morning or whatever, or like shipped from somewhere, I don't know. But it just felt like wholesome. And I could totally be like in a mind trick as well, but everything that I was eating felt wholesome. I didn't have any reactions to anything. So I let go of this feeling of like, oh, I have to pay attention and everything has to be raw, or something's wrong. So yeah, I think it's just a mix. I won't eat meat. I don't want that association with the death and destruction energy. It's just not on my path anymore. And I'm sorry if saying that is like a little harsh, because people can do whatever they want.
Yeah, no, you saying the right thing. Shit.
Yeah,
That
but
makes sense.
I'm open. I just feel like if I want to stay hydrated, And I want to make sure I'm getting fruit in my body because I believe that fruit is like the cleanser, the cleaner. It's like scrubbing stuff away. And I'm careful of the balance of not eating too much. Like if I'm into the bread thing, I'm only going to have a couple pieces and not like the whole bag or something, you know?
Right. So, on this journey, are you like you by yourself on this journey?
Mm-hmm.
What do you when it comes to dating, sharing energy? What do you think about that? Like, what's your situation?
Well, so I was with the boyfriend when I did that 40-day juice fast, and we broke up 2 weeks in, right before I started releasing all that mucoid plaque. And I totally think there was a spiritual lesson in that for me, was having the courage to say my truth to, and that actually ended up ending the relationship. And then my body released all this stuff. So I recently met another man and wanted to, move into a relationship, but I've kind of changed my mind on that. And it does have to do with energy, sharing energy. And you have openly talked about celibacy. And I was 3 years celibate before I met the guy that I did the whole RV trip, and I was with him when I started the juice fast. 3 years celibate before him. And I think, okay, so I'm reading this book right now where I have it right here next to me. I just want to have it in the picture because I'm actually reading it for the second time. Advanced Spiritual Intimacy, written by this man who lives here in the Ocala Forest with me, Ocala National Forest. He's my neighbor.
Mm.
And we met because this used to be a yoga community, but they closed during COVID and a lot of people just remained here. So it's a lot of transplanted people that aren't really from Central Florida. But anyway, so he talks about in his book, there's like multiple times in your lifetime that you mature and you go through what he's calling puberties, like multiple puberties. So I think in our society, we're used to the initial puberty, which is when women start menstruating and men start getting hairy and voices changing and all that stuff that happens.
Right.
And we don't always honor and celebrate that to begin with, but we never have like another celebration or acknowledgement or even like paying attention to throughout our lives. And I think what I'm doing is outgrowing like whatever I came into when I was a teenager, when I started menstruating. And I don't call it like menopause or anything like that because I feel like I'm moving into a new phase where genital intercourse it doesn't feel like a priority for me because I believe that we have technology in our bodies that produce this orgastic energy where you can have orgasms in your heart and in your pineal gland. And that's what Stewart talks about, the author of this book. So I was getting this sense that I'm ready to move on to something else sexually. And I was linking up with partners that were challenging the shit out of me in this regard. So it's fucking perfect. The universe delivers every time,
Right.
And so I don't know what I'm going through or where I'm going, but I'm on your mode of thinking with like celibacy, but it's coming from all this new stuff that I'm learning in Stewart's book about we're graduating into the next level of life. And if I'm going to live to be over 100 years old and I'm only 45 today, like, oh my God, what is waiting for me in terms of like what my body can do? The more that I purify and stay healthy, keep my mind good, like I'm going somewhere big and I'm going to tell people about it. It's like, I feel like this is another role of me being a guide. I'm graduating out of whatever society was trying to get me to be stuck in for my whole life. Like, no, thank you. And especially sexually, I'm moving into something different that I don't know what it is. I've never experienced it, but it's going to happen.
It's gonna happen.
So no, so I'm single right now.
So let's talk about that 3 years. You said you went 3 years celibate.
Yes.
Because I did post I'm going a whole year celibate,
Yep.
no release of energy whatsoever.
Okay. Like no self-pleasure.
None of that.
And I got you. Yep.
So with that being said, I just want to know how it feels to hold energy. Because when you start living like this, it literally makes you want to have the most energy you can.
Yeah.
That's what it does for you. And you got to start living this way to start understanding. So
Mhm.
when you did the 3 year celibacy, do you remember how you felt and what that experience was like?
So it's kind of a unique thing. I definitely wasn't on this level. I was kind of eating whatever back then. I was still drinking alcohol as well.
Mm,
But it happened like my father passed away and I had my journal out and I was writing about what I need to change in my life since my dad is gone. And
mm,
it was like fasting from food, sex, normal society, TV, shopping. And I'm like, where's this coming from? I was just journaling. And so it was almost like a knee jerk thing where I thought, okay, well, I wrote it down. And I feel like it was my father communicating with me from the other side. Because literally, like the day that he died, I had this feeling like as he was traveling through the ethers, that I had all this resentment towards him, like because he was married a whole bunch of times and I saw him manipulate women and I had some resentments with my dad, but I
mm,
was projecting that onto my male partners and I could feel myself softening as he was leaving the atmosphere because it was like I was holding all this tension, sexual tension, relationship drama, all that. So my decision to go celibate in a way was almost like punishing myself for being a bitch to my previous partners. Like I owe everybody something. I don't know. It wasn't
right.
pure, but the intention was good because I think I was starting to wake up to that thing of like, oh, I'm moving beyond whatever's after genital normal sex. I just didn't have the vocabulary for it. So
Mm,
I don't know. It wasn't super deep back then, but it was like I have discipline. I'm committed to this. I didn't even make out with anyone. I was still self pleasuring. I had my own practice, like I was using the yoni egg and self pleasuring here and there, but I was pretty much, but I turned a lot of that off. Like it wasn't constant in any way.
right. That's dope, though. That's why I'm doing this, just to build up the energy. So celibacy to me, when you said like, I know where I'm going somewhere, and I'm gonna tell people about it, right? That's how I be feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what I want to talk about. Like that feeling right there that you get.
Mm-hmm.
Do that come from? Is that natural to say, I know where I'm going, I know where I'm headed, I know what I'm gonna feel like, or is that something that's developed?
I think the more that you purify, the more natural it is. Because what I'm learning more and more is there's so many things overlaid on us since childhood about what we're supposed to be doing, how much money we're supposed to have, how we're supposed to be acting, like so much. We're so controlled. And the more that you purify your body and your mind, the more free you realize you are. And literally you can get up and do whatever you want at any time. I mean, in our mind, we're limited and we may think we're limited because of money and stuff like that, which I know is hard to hear because it's like I know what's in my bank account or whatever, but there is something about money isn't real and it's like there's this just energy flow of abundance or scarcity. It's like choosing between fear and love. So somehow energetically we're seeing ourselves all the time. But I think that the more that you purify and have the intention of being your best and highest good, the more that feeling comes where it's like you just surrender and you trust because there's something that loves you and adores you so much that's just pulling you along in your journey. And oh, let me before I switch off this thought, if it's okay. So
Mm,
Stuart, there's some YouTube videos of him being interviewed, and he talks about how he's been a therapist for like 50 years, and he doesn't do traditional therapy where he just meets people where they're at. He always tries to get divorced couples back together and like bring people back to love. And he does this little trick where he'll say, when you were born, you crawled out of your mother's vagina or however you came into the world and she looked at you with this awe of like I can't even believe you're real. Like there was so much love beaming at you from your parents, the doctors in the room, whatever it was. It's like that's who we actually are. And throughout our life we systematically forget that we're this miraculous awe-inspiring being who never changed. And so it's like you spend your life getting back to that. Like, oh, I'm a sacred being. I am loved beyond my ability to explain.
Mm.
It's hard to hear that sometimes. It's hard to believe that sometimes, but that's the actual truth.
It is. And that's how I'm telling you, I know how you feel because that's why I think this is so important. Because it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people who don't get it. When you start doing things and practice, like what you doing, your journey is you practicing and doing things for yourself to elevate your way of being. That's it. And that's why when you start doing talk about celibacy, and when I put it out there, I was like, I attracted so many things. I mean, so many people to that because people don't want to just give away energy. We
Yeah.
tired of giving it away. And this is one of the ways to practice and take control. So that's why I'm doing it. And the more you do it, the more high level you feel. You really start working on your mentality.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So feeling good about life. You have an enthusiasm about life. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Where do that come from?
I think it's just a way that in my rebellious nature, I never stopped being a kid. Like
Mm,
I'm always like in high school, they have like the senior superlatives. I was the funniest girl. I'm always trying to crack a joke and distract people from tension. Now, in a way, that used to be kind of like people pleasing and rescuing because I didn't want to be around people that were upset. I'm like, I'm gonna make them laugh and make me feel better. But
mhm.
there's something about me just defying this rule that we're supposed to grow up. I'm gonna be a kid. I'm gonna find something funny. I'm gonna laugh at farts all the time. Like
Right.
just what it is. So
Mhm.
I think that's my secret is, and I didn't know that it was like a tool. Just thought like, I'm just not trying to grow up.
Facts. Facts. So what we got? So what would you tell? What's up? What's the next move? What are we gonna continue to do to continue to grow? What's your plan going ahead?
Mm. Well, I because my journey started with this like sacred sexuality thing, and I'm just now reading this book that's giving me language and concepts around where I think I'm headed to. I guess what I'm doing is just letting go even more. Like I don't care about people judging me most of the time. And I'm going to just keep letting sloughing off all the limitations and everything that I feel, because I think the universe, God, is like pulling me into this direction of my destiny. And if I'm meant to be a thing, like a celebrity or like a brand name or something, that'll happen. But I'm gonna do nothing. Like I literally, so I have one more, a couple trips planned, but like the next thing I set up on the calendar so I could learn something is to go to the Ann Wigmore Institute in Puerto Rico, where you learn about sprouts and wheatgrass and fermentation and like how to take care of your fresh foods and some
Mm,
great recipes. So I feel like that's just going to add to my repertoire of like stuff that I know that I could help people out with, and also practices for my own life where I can learn how to make nut cheeses and all that.
facts.
Um, but beyond that, it's like I'm going to do nothing because I trust that if I surrender, I'm going to be carried. And it's not going to be easy every single day. I'll still have to deal with whatever, but oh, another book that I'm reading, I have to tell you about this too. And I can give you links to this to listen on YouTube. But this woman, Florence Scovel Shin,
The
her
one that I was thinking of.
language,
Yeah.
dude, like
She
it's
deep.
adding a whole, huh?
She deep. She pretty deep though.
Right? It's
Yes.
adding a whole nother level to my affirmations. So it's like here I am saying, okay, I'm gonna, just be let go and surrender. I still need stuff like what she's putting out, these little sentences that when stuff comes up in my mind that tells me, oh, Sherry, you're not that big of a deal. There's other people doing better than you, blah, 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 blah. Her stuff comes in that's like, oh, I'm going to have everything that I'm meant to have by divine right with grace, meaning I'm not going to have to stumble and have 16 car accidents on my way to this thing. It's going to be like fucking easy and beautiful and open like a flower. So it's like speaking the commands of what is meant to be yours by divine right, and you're going to receive it in a graceful way. That's super powerful because I'm not trying to control anybody else. I'm not like, I'm also past that thing like I'm calling in my man and all that shit. Like, no. Okay. I'm calling in what is meant to be mine by divine right with grace, and I'm patiently awaiting whatever miraculous thing it is.
Right. And you go get it though. You search like when you on the path, like you say, I do what I want. Going on meditations, you know what I'm saying? Like going to that's in January when you going to the what you and Wigmore is it?
Yeah, it's over. It's actually, I'm going to be spending Christmas. So I go on December 23rd and I come back January 6th.
Oh, so where are you going in January? Ain't you going to Mexico or something?
I'm going to Costa Rica.
Okay, yeah,
So
yeah.
my teacher Tina, the one who channels Jesus, she does these amazing retreats, and she rented out an entire hotel on the beach in Costa Rica. Which, by the way, their beaches are black. I didn't know that because when I looked at the hotel, I'm like, oh shit.
Mm,
But yeah, so when I go to those retreats, it's like days of meditation, healthy eating, hanging out with elevated souls, and we have these real conversations like you wouldn't believe. So that's all just like nourishment going to those retreats.
mm.
Mm-hmm.
I think people should look at you and look at it as you as an example of like not what you're supposed to go for, but the energy you have. You know what I'm saying? Taking life serious. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Attracting things, really being intentional about decisions you make and experiences that you have. I think people should look at you and be like, man, that's the way to go. That's the part of the ascension. But it's also people gonna look at you and be like, man, that shit ain't realistic. Like, you know what I'm saying? People down in the dumps, fucked up and shit. Like, do we care? Should we care? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? How do we feel about that? Like me, people be like, he don't eat all fruits. That's not, you know what I mean? He don't really think like that. How do we treat that type of energy?
You just, bow and say, I honor your journey. And I never put myself above anyone, even though I may think like, oh, I recognize there's a problem there and I would solve it differently.
Yeah.
I understand that every human that I come in contact with is a has a soul, has a higher self somewhere back behind them, and there's a reason, a specific reason that that person is that fucked up, and that they're taking their fucked upness to the next level. There is
Mm.
a specific God appointed reason that that person is acting that way, and it's up to me to not react in an unloving or an unkind way and just do the best that I can to be like, okay, I honor you. That's weird, but you do you.
Right.
And that's been a huge lesson, because sometimes you want to intervene, or you just, it feels like natural to judge, but it's really not. When you're really in charge of your mind, you're like, oh wait, I'm looking down on this person. What are they reminding me about myself? Oh, you have to go into a little bit of process with it, but then be like, no, that's their journey. Damn. Okay, you picked a good one, my friend.
Do you have people who don't agree with the way you live or the things you do?
All the
Mentally?
time.
Mm.
Yeah, I say it like quickly like that. People don't really confront me with it a lot, but I like, okay, I guess, and this is totally projection, so I don't know for sure, but I did spend 20 years in the military. I was a high ranking officer, and I noticed I don't get a lot of commentary on my Facebook page when I share certain things.
Mm.
So I can almost sense that there's some kind of judgment or some kind of disapproval in that. But really, the way I feel right now is like, God, I hope they come back to my page. I hope they come back with a little bit of curiosity, because I'm over here living a life in the most integrity that I've ever been. My 20 years in the Army, I wasn't always on the up and up, but now every day, every minute of my life, I'm on the up and up. And I just pray that whoever is judging me or is giving me the whatever, that they come on back and they look again and try to derive something that could help them out, because that sucks. And anytime people are you know talking down to my face or behind my back, that's harming them. That shit comes back around tenfold into their lives. So
That's that shit Kev Ramon be talking about when he say, like, people who do things to you, you ain't got nothing to do with that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like they gonna get what they got coming. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all
Yep.
about your response. So, like, okay, what about somebody watching us and they sitting back and they like, man, I want to be like her. I want to be just like her. She vibrant, you know what I'm saying? She got all this energy. She enthusiastic about life. I want that energy. How can Sherry Oehler get that person to feel like her? Like, can you help people? Do you help people? Will you help people? Like, what's the deal with that?
Well, for right now, if I'm being totally honest, I'm not exactly sure other than just you can follow me on Facebook, be my friend on Facebook. I did create a group called Juicing Toward Greatness that it feels like I'm putting some energy into that, but it's not much different than my regular Facebook page. And I'm going to start on January 1st on my YouTube channel, which is just my name, Sherry Oehler. I'm going to start studying the lessons of A Course in Miracles, so once a day, every day for 2024. And I believe there's probably something ahead for me. And maybe I will put together a platform and maybe have a website or something. But as far as it is right now, I haven't been given the guidance to work on that. And it doesn't feel like I'm avoiding it or running from it. It just isn't right now. So Facebook and YouTube is where you can find me if you want to follow along and learn a little bit more. And yeah, I think it'll help anybody who's curious to jump on one of those areas.
Hell yeah. Dope. And you know what? I'm gonna tell you right now, reach out to you if you whoever, because the conversations me and you have are top notch. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
we just touching the tip of the iceberg right now. Like, but like you've helped me in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's crazy because you reached out for me to coach you, which we've done some back and forth, but the relationship that's been built is you really are the way you living as the example helps people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Your adventure, the way you are adventurous and you take on life and you got that energy like I want to know more, I want to do more, I want to be better. That's very encouraging, very inspiring, even for someone like me who, that's what I want. I want to ascend on earth. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like that's what it's all
Yes.
about. And if it's not about that energy, what else is it about?
Some lie.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I like the people you run across in life, people would never know the relationships you have behind closed doors
Right.
because it's really about frequency and where
Mm-hmm.
you at, what you can see. So you've been tremendous. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to thank you for, having the conversation with me, being my friend, and inspiring. You know what I'm saying? So anybody who, who aspire to be more high level, because it's a lot of things. You gonna come back and we gonna talk again about a whole nother list of things because I want people to get your insight on some of the things that I'm gonna be getting into later on in the channel. So we're gonna bring you
Yes.
back, and I appreciate you. I love you, and I thank you.
I love you too, Bobby. I love our friendship. I love where this has gone because it was so like off the cuff and now it's like it's big and it feels really important and special and I'm so grateful to have you in my life too.
Likewise, my friend. Likewise. So, thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate everybody who subscribed to the channel. We got more and more and more and more conversations like this coming up, and just stay tuned. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Fruit up.